Welcome back to another video, guys. Today we'll be talking about gold cards. So gold cards have been doing really good lately. Some of the best performing grails this month. And also we'll be comparing them to their manga counterparts because some of them are actually more expensive than their mangas, which is the first time we've ever seen that. And this has happened like the last couple of days. So I feel like it's really relevant to talk about it. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is something that might be, now it might be worth taking a look at the gold cards versus the mangas in some sets because they're really getting up there in price, and this has never happened before, so this is very interesting to cover, so let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the most interesting one. So here is the manga Shanks from OP09. It's a pretty solid Shanks in my opinion. I think it's a really nice card. I think it's much nicer than the Shanks from OP01, but that's just my personal opinion. So this card recently sold for $3,600 as a PSA 10, which is a pretty decent amount. Honestly, in a market like this, it's not really a lot compared to a lot of other mangas, but it is definitely up there. It may have gotten hurt a little bit because of the gold and silver Shanks, so it's been a little bit diluted. That is a bit of a theory though, but it's definitely not a lot compared to other mangas. But anyways, moving on, the gold card is selling for $4,800. So the gold card is selling for more. And I just want to be clear, this is not something that's been happening recently. First of all, this gold card, it was only like $1,000 raw, not as a PSA 10. It's very difficult to find prices for PSA 10s, but raw, it was only like $1,000 like a couple weeks ago, maybe like 4-ish weeks ago. It was about that range, maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 6 weeks ago. But then grading it, usually it only has a 2x premium, which means that $1,000 card as a PSA 10 would be about the 2, maybe 2.5 at the max. But that does not like match this gold Shanks right here. So originally this gold Shanks wasn't really that expensive, but now it has really risen in price like a lot. Very impressive nonetheless, but this is actually more expensive than the manga, which is absurd. Like if I had the option over a manga Shanks or a gold Shanks, I would take the manga any day. And I'm sure most people, well, actually, no, I guess most people wouldn't. I guess the majority would choose the gold card. Maybe that's just an unpopular opinion of mine, but yeah, anyways. So we've got a couple other ones we want to compare to. So this is the Gear 5 Luffy. This is not the PRB. This is, no reprint, no different language. This is just the Grail himself, the Gear 5 Luffy. This actually seems to be the most expensive manga that exists. Yeah, I think this is the most expensive manga. Talking about normal mangas, not like special ones like gold or red mangas, but yeah, wow, very impressive nonetheless. Who remembers when this card was like $4,000 as a 10? Far out. Anyways, so this is $19,800. Meanwhile, the gold card is $15,000. Now, you might be thinking to yourself like, okay, yeah, sure, the gold card is it's $15,000, so it's not more. So like, what's your point? It is a little bit of a different story because the Gear 5 Luffy is so iconic. A lot of people would rather the manga one, myself included. But the thing is, if you look at the charts, you'll actually notice that in December, this gold Luffy was $6,200 as a PSA 10. Now it is $15,000. Now I know the market is doing really good, but from December to the 17th of January, which is today, mangas haven't done that insane. I just want to say, if you are shopping on eBay or TCGplayer, please do use my affiliate link. All you do is just click the link and then you make your purchase. I get a small kickback. It's the best way to support my channel. If you were to buy like an OP14 booster box and you click that link, it's the same as watching like 1,000 of my videos. So it seriously does support the channel so much. Thank you for everyone who does that. But anyways, let's continue. Like, yeah, mangas have gone up. Absolutely, 100%. But not to this level. That's a 142% return in the span of like 3 weeks. That is a lot. That's more than mangas. If we just compare it to something like this Ace, for example, just plucking a random manga, you'll notice that the Ace was selling for, well, is now selling for $4,150, but then only a month ago, if we look in December, you can see it was selling for 2.2. So it hasn't even done a 2x. It practically has, but not quite a 2x. So this is not even up 100%. It's more like 90 to 95-ish percent return. But then if you take a look here, the gold Luffy is up 142%, which is pretty crazy. I just want to give a quick shout out to myself. Sorry, I don't want to be that guy. I hate to be that guy, but I'm just going to give a quick shout out. I was like a complete advocate for these. I made a manga video. This is my second most controversial video. People absolutely flamed me for it, but I guess I'm the one who got the last laugh. Basically, I made a video talking about the top 10 mangas to buy, and I was talking about purely just a market perspective, not really collecting. And I included these, and I made it very clear, yes, I know they're not mangas, but they are so good, I'm making an exception. I got absolutely grilled. People were saying that, like, because it's not a manga, I shouldn't put it in the list, which is valid, but the thing is, it's such a good item, and I got absolutely flamed, so people hated the idea that I did that, but funnily enough, these cards have outperformed like 90% of people's picks in the comments. In fact, pretty much every single manga, this gold card has outperformed in this like last 3 weeks. So I guess it was worth making an exception. That's usually why we make exceptions, because there's such a good opportunity that you would talk about it higher than other ones, even if it doesn't fit in the list. But yeah, anyways, very interesting nonetheless, because that was a very early video of mine on the channel, and yeah, people absolutely flamed me for that. But I guess it worked out in the end, because these cards are so expensive now. They have gone up a lot compared to other cards. Everything has gone up, so it doesn't really mean anything when cards do go up. But when you're talking about the card that has gone up the most, and you've literally like, you know, talked very highly of that card, is a little bit of a different story. But anyways, moving on, Buggy. So this Buggy manga is 2.5k. This is from OP09 as well. Look, honestly, I think it's a really bad manga, if I'm being honest with you. I just do not like the perspective of it. I kind of wish it was a little bit more hands-on rather than just like almost taking a step. Like you can see, like it's a very weird perspective. It's like almost like you're looking under, and it's, I don't know, it kind of looks a little weird, to be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Either this dude's about to fall backwards, or you're literally looking pretty much under, looking upwards, which is just a really weird perspective. But anyways, the gold version is selling for about $3,000 if we just chuck it into 130 Point. 130 Point is a website where they show you what it actually sold for, not the best offer accepted. So it's selling for pretty consistently about from the 2.4 range to the $3,000 range. So we'll just meet in the middle at like about two. Oh, well, there were two for 3K and one for 2.4. So it sells for about 2.8 or like 2.9 on average, right? So that's actually already more than the Buggy as a PSA 10. So this is a really good example of a card that is just going to thrash the manga completely. I find that really weird. The reason why I find that really weird is, I mean, unless I haven't really been searching right online, I don't even think we know the pull rates for this set. It's so new. We don't even know the pull rates. This card could, I don't know, man. I feel like it's a bit much. Like, if this was a PSA 10, that's a bit of a different story. But let's not talk about how I think it's overpriced. Let's talk about what it's actually worth, which is this is what it's worth, right? Now, in this market, PSA 10s for mangas, if you were in the One Piece market a couple years ago, you would remember that PSA 10s only had about a 25% premium over the raw card whenever it came to mangas. But now it's very different, because PSA taking a longer time to grade cards. Now there is a fatter premium on the exact same mangas. So looking at a card like this, the first couple PSA 10s out the back could be $7,000, about that range, maybe $6,000, about there, which of course it hasn't happened just yet, so we can't talk about it too intensely. But if that's the case, that means that this Buggy is going to be near 3 times as expensive as this manga Buggy. So the gold version is not going to be a little bit more pricey. It's not going to be the same price. No, it's going to be nearly 3 times as expensive. And just looking at the hype for One Piece, there's a good chance it won't even go 2x over the raw price, but it could be 3x. If it is, it's thrashing the manga out of the park. Now, I will say, this is specifically gold cards. Silver cards are doing really good as well. Like, the silver Luffy is still doing pretty good, but it's not the level that gold cards are doing. And I do find that a little bit interesting, because I personally do find the silver cards do look a bit better, although I generally do prefer the color silver over gold. I don't really like gold. I think it looks very ugly, but overall it does seem like the market has favored the gold cards, which I guess would make sense. So yeah, this is more of a gold thing. The silver cards have done really good as well, but it's probably not worth showing charts and mentioning in this video. But yeah, overall gold cards have done really, really good. There are some other gold cards like in OP12. So you've also got the Teach as well. This one is 4.2k as a PSA 10 for the manga, and then the gold card is 4.1k. However, I will just say this sale was on the 13th of of January, whereas this one was on the 16th. If I'm being honest, in those 3 days, so much has happened for singles. I would probably say if another gold one goes on auction, which there are a couple, so when they sell, there's a good chance that this is actually going to sell for more than the manga. Furthermore, proving my point, showing that gold cards are doing really, really good. They are not going up with the market. They are actually going up on their own. It is a rising demand for gold cards, and I'm going to credit it to OP13 and also OP14. OP14 has, a lot of eyes on it. See, when OP13 came out, it was like $170 at the very lowest. Actually, maybe like $160 at the very lowest. But OP14 coming out, it's like $270. Actually does seem like this box has pulled back by about $30, but this box is $244. So you can see that like this whole One Piece craze, it started with OP13, but this is the first set for everybody to have their eyes on. This is, for a lot of people, this is the first set that they are ever witnessing being like the new set. Because a lot of people came in when OP13 came out. This is the first set where people are, they were in the hobby before this set came out. So what do you think is going to happen to this, how do you think that their perception of gold cards is going to change? Because when I was in the hobby, when I firstly got in, obviously gold cards weren't a thing. I got in when like OP03 was out, but there was a long period of time where there were no gold cards. I believe the first set to have gold cards was OP11. Oh, yeah, I don't think there was any before that. So, like, I had been in the hobby for a good while without these gold cards. So when they originally came out, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was pretty sick. I thought the gold Luffy, I thought the silver Luffy was cool, but I also did have a bit of a cheap taste in my mouth, a bit of a bitter taste, and I was thinking, like, doesn't this feel kind of cheap? Like, doesn't this feel like almost like a cash grab? Like, there's no originality to this. You're just recycling the same artwork in a gold version and in a silver version. Like, what's next? Are they going to do an emerald version, then a diamond version? So, yeah, I felt like it was very cheap. But that's my perspective. I still think that the silver Luffy is very cool. I still think they are cool, but I still think that they're a little bit cheap. But with newer people entering the hobby, they would see it in a different lens. They might put like gold cards above mangas because that's what they know. They know it with the gold Shanks from OP13. They know it with the gold Buggy from OP14. They know it with soon to be the Teach from OP12, I believe. So the thing is, their perception is different to my perception. And I think this is something that is very important that people kind of need to remember, is that depending on when you came into the hobby, your perception on things may be different. If a set comes out and it has no gold, no silver cards, and it has one manga, people might consider it to be a flop. But back when I got in the hobby, that was just standard. OP05 having multiple mangas was like showing a caveman fire, or like inventing the wheel for him. That's literally what it did to the industry. People went like, what? You can have multiple mangas in a set? Like, that's crazy. What the heck? So I think that gold cards have a very interesting future, and we'll definitely spectate them, and it'll definitely be interesting to see where they go. But it does seem like the newer, almost generation, like the newer gen of collectors entering One Piece, it does seem like those people may put it on a higher pedestal than mangas. For me, I still prefer mangas, but maybe newer people will see different. So yeah, very interesting trend with gold cards. They are not just going up with the market, they are actually outperforming most cards, and they're actually some of the best performers. So it is definitely something that's not just the market causing it to go up, it's also itself getting extra demand over other cards. But yeah, very interesting situation with gold cards. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section, but I will see you in the next video.